Welcome back, everybody, to the Big Book Roundtable and the Rico 12 family of recovery resources. We are targeted at people from all backgrounds, faiths, and places dealing with any aspect of the disease of alcoholism. No matter what your addiction or affliction is, however that works out, we welcome you, and we hope that we are a resource for you. I'm Justin B., a child of an all-powerful and all-loving God and a multidisciplinary addict living in the miraculous recovery promised in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous as I strive to work these steps one day at a time. I'm joined by Nikki M. and David G. The three of us are, well, I'm going to speak for me and for them. We're happy to be around this virtual roundtable, to be able to share with each other and share with you out there in the listening audience. So let's quickly introduce our panelists here. Nikki, why don't you start us off today? Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Nikki M. And yes, I'm really happy to be at this table. According to my big book, I'm an intelligent agent spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation. And I'm just grateful to be here. We had a great last session, so this one is going to really be on fire. I'm pumped up.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. All right. And yes. And David, why don't you introduce yourself really quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Justin, it's good to be here. Thank you for your service. Nikki, always good to be with you, sister. I'm David G. I'm an alcoholic addict of many sorts who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind. I've been given the gift of recovery since August 8th of 94. I, too, am a member of many fellowships, but most importantly is the fellowship of the Spirit. So really good to be here with you guys today.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Nikki. All right. For those of you who may have never listened to this recording before, this podcast, man, we dive into the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, one line at a time, one paragraph at a time, one page at a time, and get into the history, into the meaning, into how we experience it and work it in our own lives, and hope that it's a great resource for you as you walk through these steps yourself with your sponsor, and also as you sponsor others through the steps. So we're going to pick up where we left off last time. We are in the chapter Into Action, and we are picking up at the bottom of page 84. We're just going to be covering one paragraph again because there's so much in this paragraph. So bottom of page 84, top of page 85. And I was just educated that I've always called this the 10th step promises, and David this last time talked about this being the rewards paragraph, and I'm excited to get into that a little bit more to maybe, well, gain another perspective and understand things a little bit better and a little bit more clearly. So here's where we will read. And we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol, for by this time sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested in liquor. If tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally, and we find that this has happened automatically. We will see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. That is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it, neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we had been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. That is our experience. That is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition. All right. So, Nikki, let's start off with you on this one and walk us through that and teach us something.
Well, thank you, Justin. And as I always say, I love hearing you read the book to me. It's just, again, I always hear things. It's like a treasure chest. You hear things, you learn things every time you read this book. It's magic. And Nikki, I put my name there. And Nikki has ceased fighting anything or anyone, people, places, things, obsessive compulsive thoughts. I mean, this is radical. That's a big promise, because even if we're not acting out in the behavior, there's a battlefield in my mind constantly. So I have ceased even the battlefield in my mind. First thought will be something. Next thought, it's literally a big book thought, and it's usually a promise or a reward, as David just pointed out. I love that. For by this time, sanity will have returned. That's the step 2 promise fulfilled. Remember, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves would restore us to sanity. And by step 10, here it is, sanity has returned. That's my step 2 promise fulfilled. Nikki is seldom interested in her need to be right. See, alcohol isn't my jam. Drugs aren't my jam. Even today, 13 years in the program, men, money, nope. Right now, I'm not interested in anything other than a spirit world. I mean, it's radical for me. If I'm tempted to what? Because if you're here long enough, you're not tempted. I love, and David, you can probably talk about this a lot, and Justin, you too. It's like, oh, I've got sponsees and they're 8 years sober off alcohol and drugs. It's like, oh, I need a drink. No, you don't. No, you do not need a drink after 8 years of not having a drink. There's something that's not right. You're tempted to yell at somebody. You're tempted to hit send on that message. You're tempted to drive your truck into a brick wall, but you're not tempted to go have a drink. Why? Because we've recovered and we recoil from it like a hot flame. See, to react and get into a fight with anybody right now, that will kill me. It's not sleeping with your husband anymore that's going to kill me. It's getting angry. So I have to recoil from getting angry like a hot flame. Nikki reacts sanely and normally. See, I act like a woman of God now, not like a walking zombie. I am a woman of God that's sane and normal. What does that mean? That means that I'm humble most days. I'm respectful. I'm loving. I'm kind. I'm helpful. I'm sincere. I'm intimate with you. I'm active. I'm patient. I'm filled with courage. Love and tolerance. That's what a sane and normal person looks like, and it happens automatically. We find this happens automatically, no choice. And if you sponsor, you will watch miracles. It happens automatically. You just watch it and people change. We see that our new attitude, remember we read that, I think it was page 75, we're trying to get a new attitude. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We're not trying to police the rooms here. We are not trying to do anything but get a new attitude towards life. Okay? And that has been given to me, Nikki, without any thought or effort on my part. I just did what my sponsor said, and he told me at the end of it, go and create your own 100, Nikki. He never said run out and make an amends. He said rinse and repeat this, and your dreams will come true. And exactly what the book says. It just comes. It just comes. And let's talk about miracles. See, some of my favorite taglines, and Justin, you know me well, it's like, miracles aren't just for radical Jews named Jesus. They're for people like me and Justin and David, for children of God to witness miracles every day. Miracles, not mediocre recovery. See, I'm not fighting it. I'm not fighting it anymore. And my drug of choice is humans. And now I enter the spirit world. It's like I see frequencies and vibrations, and I can just, like, I don't even look at your meat suit anymore. And I'm not avoiding temptation. I can go anywhere at any time. Caveat, as long as I'm spiritually fit, I can do anything. We feel, and this is true, Nikki feels that I'm in a position of neutrality. And it's that story that we hear, the Chinese farmer story. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. Because looking back, as I was dead in COVID, lost my job, lost all my rights, couldn't do anything because I didn't agree with the mandates. I look back and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. My mortgage got paid off. I had a union job. I don't work anymore. I'm a full-time sponsor. And the 2.5 years I waited to see the man I love, it was all worth it. So I'm in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. My line out says, by God. I'm safe and protected by these spiritual principles. I don't even have to swear off of it. I'm never going to say that again. I'm never going to do that again. My willpower doesn't work. Marshaled by the will, it will not. All human resources have failed me. So only this power, this energy, this love, this vibration can remove this for me. See, the problem has been removed by God. It does not exist for me. See, I've even gone so far. I don't like to say, hi, I'm Nikki. I'm a sex and love addict. I'm Nikki. I'm a codependent. Hi, I'm Nikki. I suffer the disease. No, hi, I'm Nikki. I'm a woman of God. I'm a spearhead. This problem doesn't exist for me. Daily reprieve, contingent on my spiritual fitness. Okay. I'm not cocky. And this is my problem. I can get real cocky because I know the big book. I have a plethora of sponsees that are miracle makers. I have started meetings and nope, I got to stay very humble. And I can't get afraid because the other day we talked about it on our last episode when I was told by a longtime member, I'm not welcome. I can't get afraid. That's why I need to be armed with the facts of this book so I can stand tall. That is my experience. This is how I react as long as I keep in fit spiritual condition. How do I keep in fit spiritual condition? I work the 12 steps all damn day, all day long. Oh, Nikki, I'm working on my 3rd step decision. No, you're not. It's a decision and you make it every day. There's not much to work on. See, I have to do this all day, every day. What this is for me, I have to be mindful throughout the day. That's how I stay in fit spiritual condition. Am I living in my will or am I living in God's will? I need to course correct constantly because, like we said, something's going to happen. This is all about course correction. Or do I love the scenario, and I want to hear from David and you, Justin, but I say like this. I'm in Toronto and I'm flying to California to visit my family. My daughter lives in Napa. And along the way, there's turbulence. Now, do we just turn the plane we're over the Grand Canyon. Do I just turn the plane around because there's turbulence and we go back to Toronto? Or do we straighten the plane out? Do I just say, forget it? There's turbulence. Let's just crash this plane right into the Grand Canyon and it's over. Or do I course correct this plane and land it safely each day where it's supposed to land? This is all about course correction. It's the flight, and what do? You don't hold on tighter. You kind of let loose and let God take the wheel. Carrie Underwood wrote a song about it. Let Jesus take the wheel. I need some music background. You know how they have those shows, Justin, and the band plays the songs? We need that for this podcast.
Thanks, Nikki. And that is way more technical than I have the smarts to do. But that would be awesome to have something like that. David, let's put some walk up music in here for you to jump in and share with us your take on this paragraph.
Yeah, well, probably a good thing we're not doing that. My ego would grab a hold of it and think, it was all for me. So I love the story of the Christ riding in on the donkey, and people are just weeping and crying to see him, and they just they got these big palm leaves and they're waving and they're fanning him, and the crowd is going crazy because the Messiah has come. The message is there. And all the while, this donkey thinks it's all for him. See, I'm the donkey. So let's don't do the background music, okay? So anyhow, enough of that. This is the rewards paragraph, and I'm glad that we've talked about that. God, this is so powerful, man. And I'm telling you, this will happen. If you will do this work, this will happen. And I start guys here early so they can get a glimpse of this. And I always tell them, what this looks like now and what this looks like by the time we do the first 9 steps and get to this is going to be completely different. But you've got to get in the habit of watching your thoughts. You've got to, because otherwise you'll take action based on a sleepy thought and bad things happen. That's why we keep relapsing. That's why we're depressed. That's why we're overeating. That's why we're, falling in love with the wrong, et cetera. You know the story. But if we do this, our book says we've ceased. It means I've quit. Damn, finally I've stopped. I've stopped fighting anything or anyone. I've fought everything and everyone my entire life. I go into a room and 2 people might be having a conversation, laughing with each other. And I think they were laughing at me. And I would pick a fight and either get weed or beat the hell out of it. It's just insane. But fighting someone is nothing like what I fight on the inside of me whenever it comes to my emotions, my ideas, my concepts, my attitudes, my beliefs, the self. Now I'm watching for it. And if I'm doing what it's asked me, those 5 things that we looked at in the last episode, if I'm doing that in the maintenance paragraph, which is up above this one, Now the rewards are starting to come to me here. I've ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol, lust, food, gambling, love addiction, whatever it may be. I've ceased. I've quit. It's like, okay, God, I get it. I've had my ass beat enough. I want your power, not this. And so by this time, sanity will have returned. And for me, I really do believe, and I say this on every page, but I really believe this is probably the greatest promise in all the big book. Because, see, step one's the problem, step two is the solution. But unless you do the other 10 steps, you can't stay in that solution. The problem will always return. And so sanity being returned is very huge, very huge. Seldom interested in liquor, lust, food, whatever it may be. Seldom. It doesn't say never. It doesn't mean that I'm never going to be tempted by that again. Look at that very closely. It says I will seldom be. And there's a big difference in that. But if I'm tempted, then I recall, it's not a reaction, it's not a choice, it's to recall as from a hot flame. I was sitting here in this very spot one night, and a text came through. I'd been sober from sex and acting out for about a year. And it was a woman that I used to know, and she texted me. And I don't know, because I'd blocked and got rid of all those numbers, but she must have been on another phone. And she said, yada, yada, this is me and this is that. And it was, an inappropriate text message. Now, I used to live for those. I mean, send me one. Yeah. And I remember just this weird feeling inside of my body came over me. And my wife came in and she could see the change in my demeanor. And she was like, what's wrong? And I said, sit down. I need to show you this. And I would have never done that before. It's always a secret. We got to keep that hid, But I realized what had happened to me in that moment as I'd recoiled from that as from a hot flame. I didn't know it at the time, but as I read this later, I absolutely did. You see, my reaction is different. And we read that on the spiritual experience. It's about a profound alteration in our reaction to life. And that's what it's promising us right here. We react sanely. We react normally. That was never, ever my experience. I always act insanely and abnormal. And I was crazy. And just people were scared to be around me. It was just insane. We will find, and if I'm to find something, then that means I've had a new awareness now of what was lost. So I'm going to find that this has happened automatically. It's not something I chose. I mean, if I could have chose this, I would have a long time ago, but I didn't choose it. As a result of doing what we do here, it's happened for me. Not only to me, but for me. We will see, there's that vision. Anytime I see them three words, that's a vision. I now see that my new attitude. Remember the conversation, and I go to this a lot. Dr. Jung and Roland Hazard on page 27 of the book. Remember, he said, the nature of the spiritual experience, they seem to be phenomenon, but they appear to be in the huge nature of a huge emotional displacement, rearrangement. Ideas, emotions, and key word right here, attitudes. Nikki talked about it on page 72. We're looking to get a new attitude. And here it is again. Now we have it. We will see that our new attitude, as a result of what I've done here, is now been given to me. It's a gift. Anytime I see that word given, I have that underlined in my book. That's a gift. I've been gifted. Without any thought, keyword. And above that, I have written will or effort. Above that, I have written life. It's my will and my life. Remember, in step 3, that's what I gave. And as a result of doing the work, now I'm getting the rewards. This is the rewards paragraph. Thought or effort on my part, it just comes. That's the miracle. I'm not fighting. There it is again. I'm not fighting. Neither am I avoiding temptation. I didn't avoid that temptation that night it came through on that text. I set my wife down. I went exactly to that. And I said, I might have made that mistake in the past, but I'm not making that mistake today. We feel as though we've been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. And I just want to take a minute to zone in on that sentence. I did not place myself in that position. I would like to tell you I did by the work I've done, the people I've helped, the ones I've sponsored, the things I've done, the groups I've started, yada, 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 on and on and on. No. I was placed there. Safe and protected. Not safe and protected from lust. Not safe and protected from alcohol. Drugs. love addiction, food addiction. That's not what I'm being protected from. People tell me bullshit. That's exactly what we're protected from. No, it's not. I'm protected from what drove me to do them things to begin with. And that is a condition of mind, a hopeless state of mind. I've been placed in that position. I did not place myself there. If I start taking credit for something that I didn't do other than the work I've done and become willing, I become willing through circumstance. I was healed by something much more powerful. So we've not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. Remember again, the problem is not alcohol, it's not drugs, it's not any of those things. The problem is self. It's ideas, concepts, beliefs, attitudes, and actions. If you look real quickly on page 45 of the book, it's going to tell us right here what the problem is. Lack of power. That's my dilemma. Not lack of faith, not lack of choice, not lack of trust, not lack of belief, not lack of courage, lack of power. That's my dilemma. I have to find a power by which I can live. And it's got to be a power, obviously, but where and how am I to get it? Well, that's what the book is about. Its main object is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself, which will solve your problem, not help you solve it, not send you somewhere to solve it. Do the work in the next 40 pages of the book. And when you get back to page 85, it says that problem has now been removed. Of course it does. It doesn't exist for me or as me. That lived as me for many, many, many years, and I didn't know it. That's what self does. It lives as me. So the problem doesn't only exist for me, it doesn't exist as me. I'm not cocky or afraid, and I'm like Nikki. That's been a big part. It's taken me just the last couple of years to finally come out from being that way. And that's my experience, but there is a condition, and here it is. This is how I react as long as. It says so long as, but I like to put as long as I keep in fit spiritual condition. How do I do that? Watch, ask, discuss, make amends, turn my thoughts. Watch, ask, discuss, make amends, turn my thoughts over, and over. That's the condition. If I meet that condition as best I can, not perfectly, but as best I can, then I'm going to have a new reaction and alteration in my way of living and thinking. I become a new being through this process. It's pretty powerful. So thanks, Justin. Really glad to be here, bud.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Nikki. All right. So I rather than go in and, ask a specific question of each of you on this one too, I want to hone in on the reward, the phrase that has meant most to each of you and how that's manifested in your life. So, Nikki, as you go through that paragraph, what's the phrase that has meant most to you and has manifested itself most powerfully?
Wow, that's a great question. I want to say that the problem has been removed by God. I mean, I put by God. The problem, I haven't sworn off of it. The problem was just removed because most recently, again, we get a daily reprieve here, just a daily reprieve. And I didn't cease fighting anything or anyone. I've talked about this a lot on our podcast because what's the big book about? The big book is about love and relationships. That's really what it's about. It's about the ability to love again and to have relationships with each other, with God, with ourselves. And I wasn't practicing these principles, page 19, in our respective homes, our occupations, and our affairs. I forgot about my respective home. I put that last. And so, long story short, I continued to do this work because I was fighting my boyfriend. I was interested in my need to be right. I didn't recoil from it like a hot flame. And I had to pay the consequences of these actions and my behavior. So long story short, God, after a few months, again, has placed me in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. The problem has been removed. And what's the problem? Me. The problem of me. What about me? Why me? And so I'll tell you how really manifested the other day. I thought, and I told you on the podcast, the one you and I do, Noodle with Nikki, I had the realization that maybe my boyfriend does also have problems. You know, I'm a love addict. I will assign magical, mystical qualities to people and then blame them for ruining my life. So when I got into the great reality, God showed me that the problem was me, not him. And so then the problem was instantly removed. God, I love this book. It's a magic book. If you guys want one, we'll send one to you. Right into Justin. I'll personally send one to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nikki. David, how about you? What's the phrase in there that has manifested most powerfully in your life?
Well, today it would have to be that sanity is now returned. After a long, long wait. It's returned many times through the years, but it's disappeared and went away too. Why? Because I failed to stay current with the maintenance paragraph, which is the one we did last episode. If we want these things, there's certain things we're going to have to do. Keeping secrets damn sure can't be one of them, and that's a big one for me. My experience in the past is somebody would reach out to me it'd be a female, want me to take them through the book or to teach them something about the book. And that would not turn out very well. You know, I mean, it would start out well and it started out on a good intention, but it would not. So that's why after a long time, I've just set that boundary to keep everybody all around safe, you know, but also more is that I respect my wife. I love my wife, and I want that relationship to grow and flower every single day for the rest of my life. And I do that now by showing, not telling. You know, it's not, hey, I love you, I love you, I love you all day. It's like, hey, I brought you a gift today. I did that yesterday. I'm in a different state every week. I brought in a gift. I was like, hey, I got a gift. She's like, really? God, it's your birthday here in a couple of weeks, and you're bringing me a gift? And I'm like, I'm bringing you a gift. And I'm a Southern boy. You can tell by my cap. I like to wear camouflage and I like to shoot shotguns and throw knives and hatchets and shit, you know. And I ain't doing it at people no more. So sanity's returned there as well, right? But here's what happened. You know, I'd run across a cool camouflage coat that was for a woman, and I brought it home. I was like, shit, man, we're going to get you. You know, I don't expect you to get tattoos and braid your hair and, you know, dance naked with me around the sweat lodge, but put on this camouflage coat. Let's see how you look. So anyway, you know, enough of all that. I'm just teasing with you. But sanity's returned in my life today because I'm no longer living as I once did. The reason that I say to the women, please, you know, don't contact me unless it's through Nikki or Justin. And everybody's been so respectful and has done that. Thank you so much. I do that from the podium when I speak in person. It's just because, you know, that's a boundary. I had one guy tell me, well, hell, you're not recovered if you have to do that. Brother, I've been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected, and I'm damn sure one that can take me out of that. Trust me. But there are certain boundaries that I set not only to keep me safe, but to keep other women safe. And sanity's, I could go on all day how sanity's been returned, but sanity is a state of mind. It's my being. It's what drives me today. So I'm super grateful for this podcast and all that you do, Justin. You are so good at these questions. Sometimes I have to really pray whenever you say, all right, we're going to go into some, I'm like, God, here he comes. Help me. You know, I can't do this. Show me. And so I've learned to do that. And so you've taught me something, brother, more than one thing. So it's really good to be here. I'm going to hush now. Thanks,
David. Thank you so much. You know, and I'm just going to share the lines that are most apparent in my own life in this. And it's the react sanely and normally. You know, if tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally. For me, that sanely and normally was that reaction when tempted was previously in for a penny, in for a pound. I'm all in. That's the reaction that I take. Or I am out of there so fast, just screaming and wailing, my hands flailing as I run away at top speed from whatever tempted me, you know. And that's not sane. That's not normal. That's insane. That's what it is. And now, so long as I keep in fit spiritual condition, when that temptation arises, I can observe and I can turn away. I can practice what we talked about in the maintenance paragraph. I can watch for it. then give it out, give it to God, talk to somebody, turn my thoughts to being where my feet are, serving those who I'm serving right now. And that in and of itself is a miracle in my life. And I'm so grateful for that. All right. Any other takeaways that either Nikki or David want to talk about before we sign out today?
Well, I was just thinking page 132 as you guys were talking. We aren't a glum lot. And I love what David said. Like, David was just so playful, and I pictured him, and I know what it's like to be a member of Al-Anon, to love somebody in deep disease and to be affected by that. And I can just see his wife shining bright with that camo jacket on, and I can see it, and I can see that playfulness is. So that is really the reward. Is I'm looking at two men who were probably, I didn't know you in your diseases, but you were probably very serious and probably very angry and fresh, all those things that we are. And now I just see playful men of God, and we're having a fun time. And I think that's what life is about. That's, I guess, my takeaway right now, is that recovery does not have to be a veil of tears. It can be also what we're doing, lighthearted and talking about the good things too, not just the dark stuff, because there's so much light. So bring your wife, David, with her camo jacket, and I'll take you guys up in the woods. We're Canadians, you know. We got camo, and we got Bryan Adams and camouflage jackets and flannel.
Love
it, Nikki. David, how about a takeaway for you?
Yeah, it's really cool, because we do a lot of camo. It's crazy how I've outfitted her through the years with all that stuff. Takeaway from me, page 128, first full sentence. Giving rather than getting will become the guiding principle. If I was ever going to give you anything, it was because I was looking to get something from you. That's not the case today. Today, I'm looking to give what I have as far as my recovery and how to find a spiritual experience. All the other things that I used to try to give, advice, this will happen if you do this or this or this, I don't really do any of that anymore. I love to give in a lot of different ways, and as a result, I get, because that is a guiding principle. And that's exactly what step 10 and 11 has done for me. It's allowed me to give without expectation of anything in return. So, very, very good episode. So glad to be here with you too. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Nikki. And my quick takeaway is it just comes. That's the miracle of it. As much as I strived to do whatever in my life, tried to force things to happen, as I've given this over to that power greater than myself, things just come. And I'm provided with what I need in the moment I need it. And that's the miracle of recovery, the miracle of that connection, that spiritual awakening. All right, everybody. This is a great place to live, is in these paragraphs that we're covering now. Live there. Miracles happen, and continue to work it, because you are worth it.